Well,
hello, welcome to the Gen X-Men podcast. I'm Ant.
And I'm Daz. So
Hello,
nice
Ant.
to see
Welcome.
you. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Ant.
Yes, indeed, mate. Yeah, it's our first podcast of 2025. So,
Absolutely, yeah. Cheers. I'm on the soft stuff today. I'm just on the orange juice. As you can see, I'm somewhat dishevelled. I haven't made much of an effort today, so apologies for that. But it is Sunday, and I'm feeling particularly lazy.
yeah. Are you doing dry January like me? I mean, I'm not off the booze, but I'm just not
Um,
washing or showering for like the whole month. So I'm
I,
pretty
I most
smelly.
certainly am. I most certainly am not doing dry January. How dare you suggest such an absurdity?
Although,
In
Although
in that,
on a different note, it has been 3 years that I've been smoke free. Can you believe that? 3 years.
3 years, is it
Yeah.
3 years? Blimey, wow. Talking of not doing dry January, I've been enjoying that last night.
Oh,
It's, that was
nice.
a present from my good friend Jonathan that I used to go to school with.
Yes,
So
yes,
not
yes,
only did I
indeed.
have that, but
A nice Rioja.
I also had that one as well. So
Again.
I've most certainly not been doing dry January. But yeah, anyone who's watching, those two wines are well worth a try because they're very, very nice. So, excuse me, but highly recommended.
Yeah.
This is probably why I'm on the orange juice today.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah.
So, but you've been busy recently, haven't you? Like because you had a bit of good news about the house and everything and the move.
Well, yeah, it's. I'm not going to get too excited because until contracts are exchanged, anything can go wrong, and house moving is fraught with problems and things. So until we actually get the keys in our hands, I'm not going to get too excited about it. But yeah, we've had an offer accepted, and hopefully we're all in the process of moving, and give it a couple of months, and I will be in a different house.
Nice,
So yeah,
nice.
fingers crossed, and you'll have to come up and see us once we've decorated.
Absolutely. Well, good job. We've nailed this technology at long last, then, because driving up to Norfolk every week would be a bit of a
Well,
challenge, I
indeed,
think.
yeah.
So,
That wouldn't really be doable, would it? But yeah.
no,
So hopefully we can keep in touch via this, and
yeah,
keep the podcast going,
absolutely.
and yeah,
So,
keep doing it.
talking of technology, then, shall we pick up sort of where we left off the last time? And
Yeah. We were talking about all sorts of vintage tech last time, weren't we? And I was going to actually mention the one of the things I didn't get round to talking about last time was the Sinclair C5,
yes,
and that was a bit of a thing from the past, wasn't it? I
the
only ever
giant
saw
electric egg on three wheels. It was sort of like an
exactly,
E
yeah,
version of Del Boy's plastic pig.
yeah, it was, wasn't it?
I mean, it was such a. I mean, good. 40 years it's been, and so I would have been 14, and even then, as a school kid, we just went, "What nerdy twat would ride around in something like?" And it wasn't cheap either, was it? It was getting like
No,
500 quid or something, which back in
yeah,
those
I seem
days
to remember it was about 500 quid,
was an
and
absolute
I only ever
fortune.
saw.
You buy a
Sorry.
house for that back in the 80s.
Nearly, but not quite. But yeah, I only remember ever seeing sort of like a handful of them around, but because anyone that was seen in one was like horrendously ridiculed,
Mm.
and like you say, I mean, yeah, I thought to myself, who the fuck is going to ride around in one of them, but I'm not actually quite sure whether it was kind of ahead of its time or whether it was just stark raving bonkers from the start. But because I
Mm.
suppose it was an electric vehicle of sort of,
Yeah, it was.
well,
It
it
was
was an
one
electric
of the
vehicle, wasn't
first.
it? And
One of the first.
they all seem to be sort of raging over electric vehicles these days. I mean, rather than me, I still don't want an electric vehicle. I'm quite happily,
No, me
sort of
neither.
burning 4-star. Thank you very much.
No. and
But
and the C5 was just so impractical that I think it went. I think only about twice as fast as walking pace, so it was as fast as a
yeah,
jogger. Um, and daren't find a pothole, otherwise you'd disappear. You'd never get out.
no,
you know,
it always
so
looked very flimsy to me. If you hit a pothole, it looked like something had crack.
yeah. Well,
You
it,
know,
it did look like an egg, didn't it? So you'd
yeah.
probably have like yolk spill out everywhere. But yeah,
But yeah, it's what else could we mention about sort of like technology from not much really. I think we pretty much covered it, didn't we? Excuse me.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm really excited because I'm sure I mentioned on one of the other um, episodes that we've done when we were talking about computers. I don't think it was the tech one last time, but how I sort of got into computers and saw the user's guide that was about 2 inches thick, ploughing
Mm,
through, trying to write code, basic back then. And sorry, it's the season for coughs and sniffles, isn't it? It's bloody freezing out there. But it sort of started my journey into personal development and all of that lot. But one of my big things was, looking at this box and going, wow, one of these days, this thing is going to help me get the most out of my brain.
yeah,
And the internet sort of went a step there. I mean, what can't you find and learn online these days? I mean, I've learned loads and loads of stuff over the years with the internet for free, which is totally mind-boggling. But
indeed. Yeah.
AI. I mean, gosh, I think I mentioned to you a while back about ChatGPT and how I've been playing around with that last year, and absolutely fucking incredible shit, mate. I mean, it totally blows my mind, and yeah, you probably still see you're more of a luddite than I am. I mean, I'll
Well,
sort of
I am.
jump
I
in with
am.
stuff, and but
I'm.
no, I mean, if you haven't had a play around with ChatGPT, and this is for our viewers as well, just have a muck around with it. I mean, when we get together face to face, I'll actually have to take you through the paces with it because it's just incredible. It is absolutely boggling. Um, but
My problem is that I don't really know where to start with all of this. I mean, I have actually gone on to. Well, I think I have anyway. I don't actually really know what the fuck I've done, but you're right. I am a complete luddite. I'm a total dinosaur, and I really hate all this shit because most of it is shit. It's complete. Most technology in my mind is completely unfucking necessary. It's quite good in certain sort of ways because when it does a good job and it works, and you can see a need for it. It's fantastic. It's great. But I just think that there's a lot of unnecessary use of technology. People insist on fucking using it for all sorts of crap, and and I just can't reconcile that really. And I know you've sort of kept having a go at me for you sort of must get on and have a bit of a go at ChatGPT, but I'm not even sure that how to do that. Even you sort of I think I googled it and sort of clicked on some sort of website, and I thought, well, fucking now what? What do I do now? How do you even get started with it? I don't know. Maybe you can enlighten me, Anne.
yeah, well, I mean, what I would do, I mean, basically, it is a how do you describe ChatGPT? It is a large language model, as they call it, and it's basically been trained on everything, and it learns as it goes. I suppose you could say. I'm no expert by any stretch of the imagination, but it'll come up with a box, and it will say, an input box where you can
Yeah,
type into, and it will say, "What can I help you with today?" And for argument's sake, I mean, this is what I did with Audrey, because she's sort of been on the fringes and hadn't sort of done anything with it, and I said, "Well, ask it to write you a limerick about a hippopotamus and a duck or something like that. And it said, oh, there once was a hippo named Fred who had a mate who was a duck who was dead. And he blah, 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 blah. I'm literally in seconds. And I'm saying
Yeah.
like 2 seconds. Shoomph, there was a limerick. And I said, right, you think that's fun? Now ask it to write the limerick in the style of Shakespeare. Zoomph.
Right.
It turned it into a sonnet, and it wasn't half bad. But that's just fun stuff playing around. But on a more practical point, one of my oldie friends from the wine group that Audrey and I are part of, her dad was born in Poland, and during the war, he managed to escape, I think, Russian or German occupation and make his way through China and all this kind of shit, a really long, convoluted way back to here. And he chronicled it, but he only wrote it as, notes, not sort of in a sort of interesting novel-like way. And
Yeah.
she's sort of keen to sort of dramatise it a little bit. And so she gave it to me, and I sort of said, well, you could probably use AI to turn it into a novel if you want to, if you're not experienced, and then you can tweak it and this, that, and the other. And I just took a little chunk because you can only process little bits at a time. But I put all of his notes into it and prefaced it, and they call it prompting. So if you actually tell ChatGPT who it is, give it sort of an identity. So in this one, I sort of said, "Oh, you're like John le Carre. You're a best-selling, war crime novel writer. Take this text and puff it up a little bit."
Right.
Zoomp! Literally within seconds, it's gone. It was a cold, grey, misty morning. I was traipsing through the heathland of outer Poland, blah, 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 blah. And I went, fuck me. I mean, that would have taken me probably an hour
Yeah.
to write that, and have to be interested. And I don't know, just look at it as an assistant or a helper that doesn't eat, doesn't sleep, doesn't shit fart, and doesn't fucking care. Doesn't have any emotions. So
Yet.
I use mine as a sort of. I mean, I've got lots of different ones for different projects that I'm working on, and one I asked it to teach me about Python, like not the snakes, but the language. That's the language that it's written with. I sort of said, look, I'm interested to
Python.
find out, what this programming language is. Could you
Right.
teach me? And it went, yeah, here we go. Here's your first step. Plop. And I said, well, I've got nothing. Where do I code? And it said, oh, well, just download this app. And so then I had one box on one side of the screen and my AI on the other teaching
Right.
me, and I'm putting the code in. But
So can I just interject there for a second? When you sort of see all these videos online that are made with AI, do you just ask AI to create a video, or do you have to code it yourself? I really am showing my complete naivety here. It might sound like a silly question, and it probably is, but again, you are talking to a,
yeah, no. This is brilliant. This is good because it's good for me because then I get to sort of realise I know a lot more than I thought I did. It's a little bit like that. What is it? The John Cleese thing of like, I look up to him because he's upper class. I look down on him because he's lower class. Yeah, that one. No, but to your question, so ChatGPT is just text to text. So you type in text and it will give you a text answer, but it can write code. So anything to do with text. So you could say, write me a love song. Write me lyrics to a love song based on the style of Lionel Richie, for example. But then there are other AI programs that are out there that there's like text to picture. So you say, create a picture of Keir Starmer that looks like a tosser. And It'll
Well, that's
just be
easy
him.
enough. You
It'll
wouldn't
just
really
be
have to do
him.
anything, would you?
It'll look like a tool. There you go. And no, but you could sort of say, like, give me a picture of a duck in a speedboat on top of a mountain or whatever, and
Mm,
it'll go zoosh, and it will just pull together all these bits of images and just create this thing. For the video stuff, there are then video applications where you can also type in stuff. You can utilize it. I mean, there are some YouTubers that have got enough content. They've got their own AI that is now sampling everything they've ever put up on YouTube,
mm,
so that they now have a bot of themselves. So it'd be like me here, but
yeah.
it's not me. It's a fake me, but it'll act like you can chat to me and I'll interact, but it isn't me. It's my AI bot. Um, Absolutely mind
Wow.
blowing. Um,
I wonder if in the future we can actually get robots of ourselves so that they can actually go out and do the job and we just take the paychecks, you know.
well, see, this is where the whole crypto thing links in, because all these entities. I mean, you sort of, we were joking. I sort of said doesn't have feelings, it's not conscious yet. There's a big debate going on as to, well, again, big philosophical debate from years was sorry, just chopping up my batteries, about what is consciousness. I mean, the jury's still out on that. Really,
Yeah,
we
nobody
we
actually
haven't
knows, do they,
we
really?
don't know this computer fully yet.
No.
And But no, I mean, I do see it where there's going to be robots, and the latest thing is everybody's going to have their own AI agent, as they call it, which is sort of
Right.
like your little helper. And again, you're probably using AI without even knowing you're using AI. So if you go on a
Really? So,
Google search, that there'll be AI there. Your phone has AI built into it now. Um, you don't really watch TV or anything like that, but Netflix, like anything that gives you suggestions based on what you've watched before, that's
right.
all artificial intelligence that's been sifting through that data. I'm glad I said data, not data. Oh, I'm back in England. Yes, my
Well
dumb.
done, Ant. Well done, old boy.
I'm still going to get fucked up when it comes to the
Zed.
Zers. Yes, there we are. I want to say Gen Z, but yeah, I mean, there's no running away from it. That's sort of why I'm running towards it. Is that I think there's three types of people. There's those people that are going to run away and hide and just go, oh shit, fuck. Then there's those
Mm,
like me that are going to jump in and go, can't be that bad. Let's see what. Especially with me, if there's a penny to be made out of it, I'll do that.
well, yeah. I
Um,
mean, I could do with some of that. So, where should I start with a chat GPT?
Well, I would sort of jump headlong in and start with what you know, because again, it's still, you've got to treat it like it's a 3-year-old, really.
Mm,
Um, and from a mental, it's still learning. It's, okay, it is a generalist and has an IQ of about 120 in every single subject known to man. And
right.
so what I like to do is I like to fuck with it and try and catch it off guard, and ask it shit that I know and see if it
Mm,
knows it. And it blows me away. So I would sort of maybe start off, and it basically, if you type in ChatGPT in Google, it will come up with it, and just click on it. Um, I don't. It doesn't cost you anything. I don't think you even have to set up an account or anything like that. It just registers you straight away, and you might have to put your email in. I can't remember. It's years ago that I started messing around with it, and it's
right.
all programmed into my laptop. But I would, maybe ask it about drummers. You just go, in your opinion, what are the top 10 drummers in the world, and see what it will list. And it will go, well, I don't really have an opinion, but based on my information, because it can't do things like that. You can't sort of ask it to do human things.
No.
because it's really just a massive data crunching software. Ask it to process data. Could be like, trying to think of something useful. For you, I'm sort of thinking, I mean, you could have a whole bunch of invoices, for example, and it'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
put all these invoices in order and tell me which ones have been paid and which ones haven't. I mean, you'd need an agent to do that. You couldn't just do that through ChatGPT. But that's the sort of thing, all of the boring shit that people have to do in life, these AI agents can just do in a fraction of the time. So,
Right.
um, yeah, I would just have fun with it and sort of go use it as a sort of an educator. And I mean, I would sort of throw your question back at ChatGPT. So, type in, just go, right, this is my first time using you. What sort of shit can you do? And it will go,
Right.
zoom, and just give you a list of stuff that it'll do. And you go, well, okay, prompt me on where should I start in understanding this? And it goes zoop, and you could go, well, what's the history behind AI? And it'll go, it'll tell you that it goes back to the 1950s and I mean, literally, you can research anything and just use it as like that brainy boffin you knew at school that knows fucking everything and wants to prove it to everybody. But this thing doesn't. It's not a twat. It just sits there quietly until you poke it with a stick and ask it for something. But it's pretty cool. I'm sort of enjoying it.
Well, maybe I'll give it a quick go then later on and see if I can do something with it. Small steps and all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, from your point of view as well, I mean, you could put in your curriculum vitae, for example, and say, look, these are things that I've done. I'm looking for work. What do you think I'm best suited to? Or you could say, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. Didn't really like this, didn't like that. These are my skills. Give me a list of, 10 job areas that I could look into. Um,
Mm.
I mean, for me, I use it for things because the new version, like so, way back when I started playing with it, it it only had knowledge up until I think 2023, and it was a closed system, so it had devoured everything from the internet up until 2023. The
Right.
new version now actually accesses the internet, so I can type in things. It's like I'm always thinking of new companies that I want to start and websites and what have you. I'll actually type in, right, I'm starting an AI company. Give me 10 suggestions for company names that are quite punchy and catchy, and it will go zoop, and I go, nah, don't like those. Give me some that are more with it, and And by
More
the way, can you check hip? Yeah, exactly. Um, and by the way, check with Company's House to see if any of the company names are registered, and it will go zoop, done that for you. This one, this one, this one, and this one are. And I'm like, that would have taken me fucking hours to
Mm.
check all of that shit. So I don't know. I mean, it's sort of up to you. I think the more you use it, the more you'll suddenly find uses for it.
Right.
And
How do I
yeah,
make videos with it?
huh?
How do I make videos with it? Do I need a different AI thing for
There's a
that? Or
different AI. What you'll have to do is type in AI video creator or something like that. That's an area
right.
that I haven't even looked at. Um, God, sorry, all burpy. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so many directions you can go with this, and again,
Mm.
I think the sooner you embrace it a little bit and start that journey. It's a little bit like I say to people with Bitcoin and crypto. The only amount not to have is none. And with AI, the only interest not to have is none. Because,
Right.
you're not going to get replaced by AI, but a company and employees that are using AI will outdo you. You just cannot compete with a person with AI.
No, I guess not.
Imagine that little Chinese bloke with the abacus that's like tick, 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 and he can calculate all kinds of crap like that. Well, imagine 1,000 of those. That's what AI is.
Right.
You can give it stupid stuff like really really long numbers to add together,
Mm.
and it will do it in seconds, all the
Wow.
way up to helping you write a best-selling novel. Um, yeah.
I shall have a look at it. I shall
Hmm.
have a look at it. In actual fact, you've mentioned crypto a couple of times, and I've been
Yeah.
meaning to ask you a couple of questions about that. So, do you mind if I pick your brain on that?
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I know the
Yeah.
answer, I'll.
Yeah, because you know a lot more about it than I do. Again, it's something that you know evades me really. Um, what I find a little bit, I'm trying basically to work out whether crypto is just another fucking scam, really, or if it's actually got some substance behind it.
Hmm.
Because I kind of tempted to sort of put a few bob into it. I mean, I've got a couple of years or so ago, I downloaded this app and I stuck a tenner in it or something, and then I sort of stuck another tenner in it, and I had a few quid's worth of crypto and a few quid's worth of Ethereum,
Hmm.
and and I haven't really done much with it in the last couple of years. I haven't really stuck any more money in it or anything. I've just let it sit there, and it went up to 40 quid, and it's. I had a bit of a look at it yesterday, and it was worth 88 quid or something like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, okay, it's gone up a little bit. It's not a bad investment so far. I'm not going to withdraw it. I'm just going to let it sit there. But
Hmm.
they but I mean, 80 quid here and there is like peanuts, isn't it? I mean, who gives a fuck? But it's so if the whole thing disappeared tomorrow, I'm not exactly going to lose much sleep over it. But when you start putting thousands of pounds in it, not that I've got thousands of pounds, but if I did, and I was to put thousands of pounds in it, it's much more of a risk, isn't it? Because if it accidentally gets transacted, you can't get it back, and and if it gets hacked, you can't get it back. And just one of the other things that um, I find a bit strange about the whole concept of it is that everyone's buying crypto to sit on and go up in value. So who are the people that are actually selling it for you in order that you can buy it? Why aren't they just keeping it and sitting on
Hmm.
it like we're all supposed to do?
Well, I mean, right. So, the thing you need to get is so traditional finance, so stocks and shares and gilts and gold and silver and all of that lot is one way of securing your your assets and your money that you earn. I
Yeah,
mean, this is the challenge we're all up against anywhere in the world is the government's rampant money printing, which is just creating hyperinflation. I mean, they're not calling it hyperinflation, but it is hyperinflation. I mean, look back at right 1994. My flat that I bought, okay, I haggled very hard. It was on the market for 49 grand, and I ended up paying 33 for it. But it was a buyer's market, and I'm a good negotiator.
yeah,
Now that was um, 1 year's salary for me at the time, only because I negotiated. If I'd had to pay 49,000, it would have been like 1.5 times my salary.
mm,
These days, you're looking at more 9 or 12 times your base salary to get your foot on the property ladder. Now,
yeah,
that isn't because wages haven't gone up massively. Um, it's because the price of assets like property, things that are real and tangible, gold. I think gold in that time, I think gold was about 200-300 pounds It's now over £2,000 for an ounce of gold.
Yeah.
So that will show you how real assets, things that have intrinsic value, have gone up. Now, what that really means is your pounds and your dollars and your yen and everything else have gone down the toilet. So not only have we been taxed out the yin yang for nothing, anything, if you save money, if you actually put your pounds in the bank and get like 0.5% interest, you're a fucking mug. That is that is
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
worst place to put your money, because
Even I
year
can
on
work
year
that out.
it's going to go down. So with crypto, what it is, and again, it's a very, very broad field. You've got the forerunners, let's say. So you've got the granddaddy Bitcoin that's been around since 2008, 2009,
Hmm.
that they call digital gold. And it, a better way to look at it is property, because it's actually limited to 21 million coins. So I think
Yeah.
in 2140, the last coin will be minted. So it's got built-in scarcity. So there will only ever be 21 million of them,
Hmm.
and I think over 90% have already been mined, and so there's going to be fewer and fewer and fewer coins available. However, you will get people that got in really early. I mean, some people bought it like sub a dollar, for like
Right.
three cents, and even lower than that in the early days,
Oh, yeah.
because it wasn't tested. It wasn't tested. It wasn't proven. A lot of people were skeptical, but now it's hit lots and lots of major benchmarks. Uh, they've now got an EFT. So I mean, the likes of Morgan Stanley and BlackRock have an EFT. So financial products, the actual financial institutions are getting on board, and there's some big money coming in. So I mean, as far as it being a scam, it's gone through that hurdle, and it's like no. And there's people that are putting, and companies that are putting in billions of dollars into it as a, we're not going to call it a reserve asset, but as a way of securing their wealth, because it it just keeps going up. Like once you sort of, they call it orange pilling. So once you know like the Matrix, where there was the red pill and the blue pill, well they've got the
That
orange
fades
pill
in.
is for Bitcoin, and that's basically
Right.
once you've done enough research and looked at enough information, and you just go, holy fuck, this is the best asset in the fucking world, because everything else goes downwards to zero compared to Bitcoin. All you want to do is put your money in Bitcoin for your future self. So in 10 years'
Mm.
time, so if you put 1,000, well, as you've seen, we're putting a couple of tenors into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you now looked at it and it's now 80 quid. Well, your tenors would have just been worth a tenner, and what's their buying power? You know what I mean? I try and price
Yeah.
everything now in Bitcoin, and it's really scary if you actually look and go what Bitcoin was worth. I mean, this time last year, you could have bought Bitcoin for about £19,000.
Right.
It's now about 80. So
Right.
it's quadrupled in value in a year.
Right.
And like this is the danger for a lot of people, is a lot of people try and trade. Everyone thinks they're going to get rich quick with these sort of things, and you just don't want to trade it. You just buy it, buy a little bit every month, whatever you can afford to put aside. Again, sorry folks, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a funny. We have to have that disclaimer on here that it's not. This is just us,
Oh,
two
absolutely.
blokes chatting. But yeah, dollar cost average in. So that basically means, whatever the price is, you just, say you got 50 quid a month spare, just
Mm.
bung it into Bitcoin or whatever you like. The I call them the three granddaddies. You got Bitcoin, you got Solana, and you got Ethereum. They're the sort of major ones. Anything that's in the top 10, I've got others that I've invested in just because I see the long term utility. I'm a big fan of Cardano.
Right.
ADA is its ticker price, just because Charles Hoskinson, and he was one of the part of the team. There was like load of people that actually coded Bitcoin back in the day, and they all
Hmm.
split off because they saw the limitations of what Bitcoin could do back then, and they went on to form Ethereum, and then I think there were 17 programmers working on Ethereum, and they didn't fall out, but they all wanted to pull it in different directions, and so
Right.
they splintered off, and that's how you then got Polygon and Cardano and Polkadot and like a load of
Salami or
other
whatever it's
coins.
called.
Yeah, and then you've got what are called meme coins. There's things like Pepe and Fartcoin, and I mean they've all got like funny names, Bonk, um, Chill Guy, and they're sort of based on a picture, and they're tokens, and it's all based on a community, and that's where it's a little bit of a wild west. But the the
When are
reason
people actually going to start using this as money then? When are they actually going to start paying for stuff with it?
Well, it is. It is being used. I mean, there's certain countries have actually adopted it. El Salvador is sort of leading the way. Argentina got out of
Mm.
bankruptcy with the IMF by using Bitcoin as a basically a treasury asset like gold. Um,
I don't really understand all of that, but but yeah, it's just I just sort of like most people, I can't really get my head around it.
mm,
You know, as much as I try, it's I suppose it is a sort of a fear of the unknown and the new, and part of me sees the sorry, I'm just trying to formulate as I go, and I'm finding it very
no, no.
difficult. I know what I want to say, but it's difficult to do. But there's a part of me that kind of understands the intrinsic risk of keeping your money in a bank. But I suppose I'm not saying I trust banks because I fucking well don't. But there's kind of like that part of you that as you know, because you've always done it and they've always been there. It's kind of like that comfort blanket, if you like. You know, I mean, not that it is a comfort blanket; it's anything fucking but do you know what I mean? It's familiar, so that so you use it and you kind of not trust it, but you kind of go with it. And you know, whereas and I suppose the other thing is that if you get ripped off in a bank, the bank give you your money back, but they don't in crypto, do they? So if you lose it, you lose it. You're fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of a bit of a stumbling block for me, really. I mean, the fact that no one's responsible for it. I mean, okay, I get it. I'm responsible for it, and you know we should all be responsible for our own stuff. And I get all that, but but I can't be responsible if somebody hacks into my crypto account and steals 100 grand's worth of crypto. You know, what do I do then? I'm destitute. You know,
Well,
so it's
on that point, it's actually very like exchanges obviously can be hacked, but the crypto itself and the blockchain is very difficult to hack just because of the cryptology that's involved. I won't go into the details and technicalities of it, basically because I don't fully understand the cryptology myself.
right. What's the
But
difference between an exchange and a Bitcoin wallet?
wallet. Right. Okay. So an exchange, a little bit like if you wanted to buy IBM stock or Apple stock or whatever, you'd
Yeah,
have to use something like Trading 212 or eToro or whatever, a brokerage. You know, back in our day, back in the 80s, you'd actually have to phone up a broker at some large, city exchange. Um,
yeah.
so an exchange is basically just a software and a company as well that allows you to buy and sell crypto.
Right. Is that
So
like more than likely what I've got? And I bought mine through an
probably,
app called Kraken.
Hmm.
So would that be an exchange?
Yeah, Kraken. There's Kraken. There's Coinbase. There's Crypto.com that I use. Um, Gosh, there's a whole bunch, and um, we've sort of like because they're starting to bring in more and more regulation. So there's actually a
Right.
lot more regulation these days than there was, say, 5 years ago. So the big story that everybody's still smarting from is Mount Gox, which was one of the early exchanges that started up and was a little bit of I don't think they meant to be a racket, but they hadn't actually secured their purchases in such a way so it all deck of cards, it all tanked, and they lost a lot of money, and
Right.
they got their knuckles severely wrapped on that one. But almost every exchange now has actually bought. So when you buy, so I'll even say if you bought a Bitcoin through
Mm.
Kraken, I don't know about Kraken, but I know crypto.com, which is why I'm with crypto.com. Crypto.com actually goes into the market and it buys that Bitcoin for you and has
Right.
it on their reserves. So that when you then, because you talked about a wallet, if you then want to sweep it off the exchange into a hard wallet, or you can have a software wallet on your phone if you want to, but it's better to have it in what they call a cold wallet, which is sort of like putting it into a safe deposit box. Um,
Well, on
you
something
you
like a
can you
thumb
can
drive
do
or
that,
something.
and
How do you do that? Do you sort of store it on a little disk drive or something, or
no, there's a special thing. It actually looks like a little flash drive. It's like a little
yeah?
device, and again, there's a lot out there. Um, I don't have enough crypto. I leave everything on crypto.com at the moment because I've got it staked, so you can earn a little bit of interest by investing your crypto, a little bit like you would put money into a savings account or whatever in a traditional bank.
Right.
But no,
How do you
you
do
can.
that? How do you do that? I mean, how do you invest Bitcoin and but still own it? I mean, surely if you was to say to whoever's holding your Bitcoin, I'd like to invest 10% of my Bitcoin, say,
Mhm.
don't you actually have to sort of give that Bitcoin to somebody else in a way? In which case, you're never going to get it back, are you?
No, because it's not, you're not physically lending it. Um,
I don't
you're
understand what you can possibly do with it if you're not actually going to sort of give it to somebody else in some form or other.
Well, because a lot of I might lose you with some of this because it's like I'm going to sort of say some of the crypto is consensus driven, so it's all to do with eco um, communities around it, and see, I'd have to get into explaining how coins are mined and what have you. There's certain functions, and for doing certain functions on the blockchain, you get
Mm.
rewarded with tokens. So
Right.
that's where you can earn money by investing it. You're sort of allowing not necessarily a third party, but you're sort of giving like a proxy vote to these people, and in exchange for them having the power of your tokens, if you like, they're then able to make decisions on chain, and you get rewarded for that. That's sort of how I understand it. That may not be what it is, but they may actually be lending it out. I don't know. There are certain products out there where they can lend stuff, but
To be honest, you lost me at mind, but
yeah, I know. I know. Well, I thought about it when it was like, oh
in
dear.
actual fact, you lost me before that.
Well,
But um,
yeah,
but yeah, probably best not to go down that route because I don't understand it anyway. So you're just sort of talking to the wall, really.
yeah,
But
yeah.
um, but I mean, I would like to sort of put a little bit in there. If I can, well, I mean, I can't guarantee its safety, can I? So I'm not going to put too much in there, but not that I've got too much. But if it all goes fucking tits up, then I'm going to bugger all, aren't I? but yeah, I know. Maybe we'll have to have a little chat about it, and I can ask you a few questions about the best way to store it and best way to buy it and all that.
Well,
But
here's a thought just to close the loop. When you're playing around with ChatGPT, why don't you ask it all about crypto? So it probably has way more knowledge than I do. And
yeah, okay, I'll
it,
do that. That'd be a good place to start. Actually, maybe I could learn about two things at once.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah, good
cool.
suggestion. Actually, I'll do that. Um, but yeah, all this sort of modern day technology is moving on at quite a rapid pace, isn't it? Really, I mean, for a little while when I first got my first computer, everything seemed to sort of like stay static for a while,
Mm,
which led me to believe that I could sort of do something with it. I got into it. I got a computer, and okay, I just played games with it and stuff, but. I did for a little while think that it could be something I could sort of get into, but I really
mm.
haven't got the brains for computers. I'm more of a creative, airy fairy sort, really. I'm not exactly an academic, um, but yeah, I mean, technology just leaves me standing now. I mean, you learn how to do something, and then 10 minutes later it's obsolete, and you have to learn it all over again. And I just haven't got the fucking time for that. I can't be bothered.
Yeah,
All I really
yeah.
want to do is learn how to do something and then just use it. I don't want to keep having to relearn it every fucking 6 months. It's just pointless to me, really. You know.
Yeah, I mean that is the challenge. I mean, gosh, I was in the computer era in the 90s, and even back then, if you took your eye off the ball, zoink, something new was coming out. These days, it's lightning speed because, of course, people are using AI now,
Yeah,
and this is where it's going to be very, very difficult moving forward. Is a company is going to come out with some new idea that they think is like really, really great, and then someone else is going to go, all right, I'm now going to talk to my, just say Daryl comes out with Daryl Software Incorporated, and it's this all singing, all dancing thing, and I can go, wow, hello AI chatbot, see what Daryl's doing there. Can you make me one of those but better? And I've heard the Hindu market is actually like really big. So can you create a website in Hindi to target them? Zoom, and it will knock it out for me in next to no time. Um, this is the thing: is the rapidity of change is going to be absolutely enormous. And of course, you got the likes of Elon Musk and Amazon and Google and
yeah,
Microsoft that have got big enough pockets that as soon as you put your head above the pulpit and sort of go, oh, I've got this great idea, they'll go, we'll buy you out. Or
yeah.
they'll just create their own and just bulldoze you out the way.
Demolish
So
you.
it's
Yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah.
sort of interesting yet boggling times that are coming ahead.
Indeed. Yeah. It's. I mean, I'm not. Well, I don't know. What am I trying to say? It's. I mean, I'll probably be dead within 20 years, so um, I'm not that
Optimism there.
bothered
There we
about
are.
it. Let's face it, it probably will be. But so I'm not really that bothered about it. I mean, it's going to be somebody else's fucking problem at the end of the day, isn't it? But that doesn't help me for the next 20 years.
Yeah,
I need
yeah.
something to sort of be able to um, you know navigate the bullshit until that happens. But I mean, by the time we've all got sort of, what I'm trying to say is that, by the time we've all got chips in our heads and it's AI can think for itself and all that kind of stuff, I'll probably be, well and truly brown bread by then. But in the meantime, not understanding it is a problem. But
Hmm.
um,
I could
it's
tell you about the sex bots, but I mean that then we'll be chatting for another hour. Then if I do that, maybe that's topic of another podcast. It's like, oh, there are sex bots. Ooh.
yeah, that's a chat for another time, I think. 'Cause we've actually been on this for 50 minutes now, nearly.
I know. It's our
It's
longest podcast yet,
mm,
and so I mean, thankfully, we haven't lost any subscribers. We're still on 19. We're doing
well,
really,
not
really
losing
well.
any is a start, I suppose.
Yeah,
But maybe we should wrap this up,
yeah,
and you know, have a chat about something else next time,
yes,
because
indeed.
you know, I, mean, I
We'll
don't
put
really
out
understand too much about AI, so maybe I could
thinking
have a bit
caps
of a
on.
go with it, and I could sort of report my findings next time we talk,
There you
and
go. Sounds
and
like a plan.
yeah,
Yeah.
so. Because I mean, I think I've sort of covered everything that I understand about AI now, and at the risk of assuming that I'm not already boring, but I'm going to get very, very boring on this subject now. So I think it's I think it's probably wise to shut the fuck up and let our 19 viewers
Yeah, yeah.
move on and go and look at something else.
Well, it was actually very, very good practice because I've actually started diving deeper into AI, and I've started up my own YouTube channel called the AI Old Timer.
Right.
So I put the first video out, I think, the day before yesterday, because I'm now part of a little group, and I'm learning all about how to create AI agents. So I shall keep you posted on that. But
Okay. I think
it's
you might want to. I think you might want to mention the name of your video again, because you broke up and stopped a bit there as you were explaining. So anyone
oh
that wants to sort of look at it isn't going to be able to, because it was inaudible.
yeah, the AI old timer. It's called. I shall put something down in the box below as well.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to check that out. So
Cool.
yeah, because I mean, most of the people in the group, they're all like 20 something, and I'm like, fuck it all, and they know all this shit, and I just don't. I'm just like, oh. So
Yeah.
anyway, all right, we won't bore people anymore. So I will say cheerio from me, and
And it's goodbye from him.
goodbye. We'll see you in the next episode.
Absolutely. Speak to you soon.